Live again. Let's see if this works. Yeah, let's see if this plays videos at all. What is going on? What is going on? Let me know if you guys can see this or not. Sorry to everyone else who's watching this for the first time. We're having some streaming issues, but if it's good right now, then we should be good. I think it's good now. So let's get started with the video, yo. What is going on? What is going on? Just let's look at this dyno video to start off. Okay, cool. So stock ZR1 on the dyno. Let's see what power numbers it makes. It's going to be to the wheels, not to the crank. You can see it makes 571 or 574 power and 573 or 563 torque. So very solid numbers from the stock engine, especially from 2009 to 2012. This car was produced from 2009 to 2012, so over a decade old. Shout out to the people in the chat right now. What is going on, y'all? Yeah, so get some big facts and figures so you guys know exactly what we're working with today. Let's take a look at another video. This is going to be a top speed run. And I know what you guys are thinking. GPS versus speedometer, there's always a discrepancy. But with the ZR1, the speedometer is actually calibrated to GPS up to 186 miles an hour. So maybe there's a discrepancy of 1, 2, 3 miles an hour at the very, very top end. But as you can see, it has a 220 mile per hour speedometer. There's 200. 210. Insane on a stock car.
Whatever, I wasn't looking.
What do y'all think about the C6 ZR1? Let me know. Another dyno run here, just to solidify those stock power numbers. Two different examples. Let's see what this one is. Focus. 572 and 541, so a little bit less torque than the last example, but still in the same ballpark. You can see this is around what it makes to the wheels, which is insane for a stock car from 10 years ago. Let's watch another video just to see what it looks like on the outside in the wild. Looks pretty good in my opinion. I think the ZR1's the best looking out of all of them, but that goes without saying. It has the most stuff going on with it. It's the widest, it's the lowest, most powerful. Of course, it's gonna look the best.
Did he do that for the video?
And then one more video. We'll look at a flyby from a car's perspective. Supposedly going 200 miles an hour. So you can hear that beautiful LS9. Insane. Insane. So what is going on, y'all? On Warren Cars, back again for a second time for another car buyer's guide. Today we're going to be going over the Corvette ZR1, specifically the C6 generation. Probably the best ZR1 in my humble opinion. Obviously the C7 ZR1 is a great car, and whenever the C8 ZR1 comes out, that will also be a great car. But this C6 ZR1 is just a classic. It's wider than the Z06, it's lower than the Z06, makes more power. And for the time that it came out in, this car made insane power. 640 horsepower, 604 pound-feet of torque. This is going to be at the crank. Was unheard of in 2009. Obviously, the next car that really put out those types of numbers was going to be the Mustang GT500, which came out 2013, 2014 for that specific one. Before that, they were in the 500s in terms of power. So very special car here. But as you'll see in a little bit when we go over the ads, the market agrees at how special this car is and has priced it accordingly. The prices for these cars are insane, and to be honest, for me, hard to justify. It's easy to justify when you think about the performance on paper, but then when you look at the actual car, yes, it has some upgraded features over the standard and the Z06. I'm talking lots of use of carbon fiber. It has obviously a new powertrain. It also has a lot of standard features, but it's still a Corvette. It's still a C6 Corvette, and at the end of the day, the interiors were horrible. I'm not gonna like say they were the worst things in the world, but for what you're paying, they're horrible. You can get something 10 times nicer for half the price. But then again, it is a ZR1, so you can't really beat it in terms of performance for half the price. This is literally the performance bargain of them all. Anything that comes close, and you could get this type of power in like a Hellcat or a Mustang or even a ZL1 nowadays, but they're not going to have the pedigree. It's not going to have the overall road presence. It's not going to have that sporty feel that the ZR1 has. The ZR1 is like, it's in between a supercar and a sports car. That's how I want to describe it. It's not a sports car. I'd say this is way more, it just has a lot more going on than a sports car. You can't compare it to a Mustang or a Challenger or anything like that. This is higher up than that. I don't know how to say it. Caterham is much worse. Yeah, shout out to Caterham. Yeah, Caterham is not even a real car in my opinion. But we can talk about that later. That is a track toy. But the interiors of these leave a lot to be desired. Granted, if you get a 3ZR package, so it's going to be the highest level package, they're not that bad in terms of features. However, the materials, the overall look of the interior is definitely not worth it for this price point. And I know I haven't talked about prices yet. We'll get to that in a second. I just want to make sure I go over the car to completely justify why this price is the way it is, because yeah, you can't get around that price. It is insane. Before we get to that, don't forget to like the video. Hit that like button. It takes like 2 seconds, not even 2 seconds. It takes half a second, and it helps me out. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I hate asking, but this is YouTube. You kind of have to, or else people just watch. So like the video, leave a comment as well. Subscribe to the channel. And if you haven't already, join the Discord. It's where I put all the notes for the show. I'm talking all the information I talk about. I write it in a Google Doc first before I put it on the show, and I upload that Google Doc to the Discord. So if you want this information for a later date, just join the Discord. I also do giveaways. If you like, comment, and subscribe on any video, and as well to the channel, because I said subscribe, as well as joining this, you are eligible to win $50. So I'm doing a drawing not next Monday, but I'll probably do it the Monday after next. So if you want to win 50 bucks, all you got to do is join this Discord. This is where I pick it from. Other than that, it pretty much covers the announcements. You guys actually let me know. I have a question for the audience. You guys can leave a comment or you can hit me up individually, but does this 4 p.m. streaming time work for you guys? I know there's not too many people in here right now, but this is just a question for later. I'm trying to figure out the best time to stream. 4 p.m. I can stream really whenever I want. I work from home. So I think 4 p.m. I've gotten the best viewership. So that's why I'm sticking with 4 p.m. But if you guys feel comfortable watching at a different time, or you think you'd be able to watch more at a different time, just let me know. I'm willing to adjust my schedule. So let's get into the features, options, and problems for the C6 ZR1. Let's bring this over here. Where to put this? Oh, put that over here. So I mentioned before, 2009 to 2012 is when the ZR1 was produced. Not that many model years compared to the whole lineup of the C6. The C6 went from like 2006. So the ZR1 came way later, came after the Z06, obviously. So here, 2009, 2012. It uses the 6.2 LS9 supercharged V8, makes 638 horsepower and 604 pound-feet of torque. This is going to be at the crank. The car is not too heavy, but it's not too light at the same time. It weighs around 3,400 pounds, which is a little bit heavier than the Z06, which is kind of interesting, but it makes up for that with the power. It comes with 15.5-inch front and 15-inch rear Brembo carbon ceramic brakes. These are standard. This kind of points you, it shows you what this car is all about with the standard features. It has a 4-lobe Eaton twin vortices series supercharger. Claimed 205 mile/hour top speed. It's weird testing. A lot of like the official testing, Car and Driver said they got it up to a 192 or something like that. They claim 205. You just watch the video where you get 210. So all over the place. These cars are just really fast. That's all you need to know. That's the bottom line. and they all come in a 6-speed manual. If you can't drive a manual, sorry for you. You can't own one of these. You have to be able to drive a manual to own a C6 ZR1. And it came with 19-inch wheels in the front with 20 inches in the rear. So another point to show that this is not just a regular sports car. Barely any cars have staggered wheels. The only other car I can think of that has staggered wheels is like an Aventador. So staggered wheels come stock. And then something also to note, the differences between the Z06 and the ZR1. A lot of people think the ZR1 is a harder track monster than the Z06, which is not true. The Z06 is actually a lot more harsh and a lot harder to drive for normal drivers than the ZR1. The ZR1 is a little bit softer. However, the ZR1 does have magnetic ride suspension, so you can change it from touring or sport. And touring is the softer setting. Sport is kind of the equivalent to Z06, but a Z06 is just still a little bit stiffer. Let's see. I'm just gonna read these real quick. Crack lips at 3 to 4 p.m. is 1 p.m. for me, I think. Yeah, but yeah, that's for us Cali people. Okay. Yeah, so I could do it a little bit later. We'll see though. We'll see how many people chime into that. But yeah, just wanted to point out that the ZR1 is actually a little bit softer, a little bit more comfortable than the Z06. The Z06 was just purely made for the track and rode really rough on day-to-day driving. The Z06 or the ZR1 is able to kind of have both, the best of both worlds. So let's move on to the options. Where did I put it? Which are pretty simple. There's a lot of different individual items, but there's only 2 option packages, which makes it pretty easy to sort out between the cars. And on top of that, getting a little bit ahead of myself, when you look at these cars at the ads, most of them are going to be fully equipped. This was the flagship model of the Corvette. If you didn't order this with a bunch of options, like why were you ordering it? Most of them came with the 3ZR package, but we're gonna show you, well, I'm gonna show you real quick exactly what I mean by that when we look at the ads. And I did not highlight this. All right, cool. Let me just highlight all this real quick. Seriously, I just want to move it, man. Thank you. Bold that. Bold that. Bold that. I think that's it. Yeah. Cool. All right, let me bring up sheet right here. Just let me all right, cool. We are good. So in terms of options, we're going to start off with just going over the trim levels. There are 2 trim levels for the ZR1, the 1ZR and the 3ZR. This is going to be your base level. This is going to be your upgraded level. There's only 2 levels, really simple. And as I mentioned before, they mostly came in 3ZR because they are the flagship model. So I'm just going to read off what the 1ZR has, and obviously the 3ZR has everything that the 1ZR has, plus everything that's listed. So 1ZR has a 20-spoke sterling silver aluminum wheels. That's what you see here. 6-way power driver seat, leather seating, tilt steering wheel, dual zone climate control, active handling system, traction control, ABS, cruise, keyless access, variable ratio power steering. Obviously, these are all standard stuff. Audio system, this is going to be your standard audio system. If you get the 3ZR, it comes with a Bose system. HID xenon headlights are also standard. Dual power remote, heated sport mirrors, standard as well. Heads up display, standard. All these are going to be standard. Steering wheel mounted controls, magnetic selective ride control. That's what I was talking about earlier. You can change from touring or sport. Dual mode performance exhaust, standard on all ZR1s. Carbon fiber front fenders. Also a staple of the ZR1 is the use of carbon fiber. You had carbon fiber front fenders. You also had a carbon fiber roof that could be visible. OnStar was introduced in 2010. That's when it came out. And then 2010 Plus, as well as performance traction management. This is going to be highly desirable. That's one of the reasons why people go for the later model years, is specifically because of the performance traction management. And then for 2012 and later, they offered the PDE ZR1 high performance package, which is also super desirable, but also super rare. Let's get into the ZR1 or the 3ZR package. The 3ZR package, of course, includes the 1ZR. It also includes sport seats. These are going to have lumbar and extra bolstering on the side. You also have side impact airbags. This was included in the 1ZR package from 2010 Plus. So for 2009, the side impact airbags were only available in the 3ZR. You have a power passenger seat, luggage shade for your trunk, memory package. So this is going to be your memory mirrors and memory seat. You also have power telescoping steering wheel. The 1ZR only comes with a power tilt wheel. This one comes with power tilt and telescoping. heated seats, the universal home remote transmitter, Bluetooth wireless tech, custom leather wrapped interior package. This is the package you can have, but only if you get the 3ZR trim. This comes with two-tone seats with flags on the head restraints, leather wrapped instrument panel and door panel uppers, and console cover also wrapped in leather. So look out for this package if it is a 3ZR, and most of them are 3ZR. So this is something we're going to be looking out for today. You can also get, or 3ZR also comes with the nav system plus the Bose speakers. So you get both of these included with the 3ZR. And then you have the Chevy Centennial Special Edition, which was 2012 plus. This was just a special, obviously it's a special edition. It came with special, like a look on the interior and exterior. We'll look at that in a second. Custom leather stitching. So you had a couple color options. We'll get into that too. This was 2012 plus. 60th anniversary package for 2013 plus, and then graphics package for the 60th anniversary edition 2013 plus. Individual options you could get was the audio system. This came standard with the 3ZR. You have battery protection package, which if you want to, that's I believe that's like a trickle charger system, and then lightweight wheels for the 2012 plus model year. So not too much stuff to look out for. Again, as I mentioned for the 5th time, most of the cars are going to be 3ZR, so we're going to just look out for the color and condition and mileage mostly. Cool. Let's look at a couple brochures so I can just show you an example of stuff I was talking about. Let's see here. We'll also look at some colors as well so you guys can see what colors the car came in. So here we have the 2009 color palette. You can see that ZR1s in 2009 came in atomic orange. They came in black. They came in Jetstream blue. They came in Blade silver. They came in Velocity yellow, Victory red, and Cyber gray. They did not come in Crystal red, and they did not come in Arctic white. Let's see for the next year. So I guess they were all the colors were available for all the trim levels and models. I guess that's how I'm interpreting this. Yeah, Arctic white, black, Jetstream blue, Blade silver, metallic, Crystal red, New Torch red, Velocity yellow, Cyber gray. And then these are going to be your wheels. Again, they didn't offer another choice of wheels until the 2012 model year. Let's look at 2011. You can see the colors stayed the same. You have Supersonic blue metallic, which was added. Do they allow you to change the headlamp surrounds in these? Nope, that was also something that was added. For 2011, you can change the inside of the headlight colors. What else can we see here? These are going to be your fabric colors: titanium gray color, dark titanium, cashmere, and red. And then let's look at 2012. I guess these are going to be your paint colors. Not really sure why they added these random photos, but paint colors are going to be right here, so we can see pretty much the same paint colors. And then for the leathers, we have ebony, titanium gray, cashmere, red leather, and dark titanium. So 5 different choices here. And then did anything else change? Let's see. Headlamp surrounds, same thing as last year. And then we're going to 2013. You can see these are going to be the colors. These are going to be your convertible top, but we're only looking at coupes today. Again, a lot of the, and then, oh, I wanted to go over some of these packages. So let's see. Where is that PDE thing I was reading? Yep, okay, so PDE ZR1 high performance package. Let's read exactly what that entails, because that is going to be seen on some of these cars. PDE high performance package: black lightweight cup wheels, Michelin Pilot Sport Cup tires, 6-speed close ratio transmission, black full width spoiler. So it's interesting because the ZR1 actually comes with a like a closer ratio transmission anyway. So the high performance package comes with an even closer ratio transmission. What else do we see here? 60th anniversary design package is going to be an Arctic white paint with specific exterior and interior badging, suede microfiber wrap steering wheel and shifter, blue custom stitching, blue diamond interior, color gray custom brake calipers, ZR1 rear spoiler, and graphics package includes full length racing stripes in pearl, silver, blue, convertible top, graced with stitched stripes. And as you can see, no convertible top for the ZR1 here. So These are going to be like your interior combinations, a ton of different interior combinations available. We'll take a closer look at the examples. But I'm trying to find those super lightweight wheels because they are right here. 19 or lightweight cup. These are going to be let's see. Okay, so they're not even going to show it. Okay. Thanks. Thanks, Chevy. Yeah, they don't even show which ones are the lightweight cup wheels, but just know that they're somewhere. we'll see if we see any in the examples. All right, let's get on to the problems. We'll probably remember some stuff we forgot in terms of the options in a second, but let's move on to the problems for now. And what's really good about this car is that there aren't many problems at all. Besides the fact that it is a C6 Corvette and it's going to have quality issues. In terms of issues specifically pertaining to the ZR1, there are very few, but we'll go over them right now. So some 2009 models had a clutch recall. This is a recall with the TSB and everything. So if you have an early 2009, just check to see if the clutch had the recall, like if it qualified for the recall, and then check and see if it was actually done. You also have the supercharger coupling noise, isolator failure. So basically what this is, this happens on a lot of supercharged cars. It happened with the Mustang, it happened with the Camaro. But basically the coupler that connects the belt to the supercharger, the pulley, so basically the belt connects to the pulley connects to the supercharger. In between there is an isolator, and that isolator takes the not constant movement of the engine, because it's an engine, right? It's not a motor, it's not spinning a constant torque. Each piston is inputting torque into the circular motion. So it's like if you looked at an engine real slow and like slow speed, it'll look like it's speeding up and slowing down, speeding up and slowing down. And so the coupling takes that motion, kind of like in a clutch. When you have springs in a clutch, it takes the chatter out. That's what it does here. It takes the chatter out of the input from the pulley and it translates that into a smooth torque for the supercharger, and this isolator can fail. Basically, it'll just make a lot of noise or have vibrations. So just check and see when you're driving around with the supercharger, you don't feel any vibrations coming from that, at all, basically. But that side of the engine, I mean, that part of the car, make sure you're not feeling vibrations from there specifically. The timing chain tensioners have been said to fail. They're made out of plastic, so they fail eventually. This happens on cars with timing chains. They use plastic timing chain tensioners. If they're not properly cared for, if they're not lubricated enough, they can fail. And then you also have valve guide issues on the intake side. This was also seen with the Z06. However, the valve guide issues were on the exhaust side, and that causes more problems apparently. Valve guide issues on the intake side aren't as big of a deal in terms of catastrophic failure, but they do happen on the LS9. So make sure that your car is running good. Again, these cars weren't produced in a high enough number for any of these problems to really be like set in stone as issues that every car might face, and this is one of them. A lot of people say the valve guide issues for the LS9 are blown out of proportion. Basically, a couple people online are just talking about them a lot, and most owners have not actually had that issue, but it's just something you want to keep in mind. Again, this list was very short, so I was going to include some stuff that maybe not be a problem, but everything else that is a problem is going to be related to the Corvette chassis itself. This is going to be interior quality. It's going to be electronic stuff. But thankfully, the Corvette isn't really known to have too many problems. It's just known to be kind of a basic car, which in this case is good because the older a car gets, the more problems it's going to have if it's a complicated car. And if you have a basic car, they just stand the test of time. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up the features, options, and problems. If you haven't already, hit that like button on the video. Let's get to 20 likes on this one today, y'all. 20 likes is easy. I get more than 20 views, so 20 likes should be a piece of cake. Cool. Let's get on to the ads. The best part of the show, the part of the show that everyone waits for. Let's see if I can even find them. Here we go. So let's look at our first example. This one is going to be a 2009 ZR1, and they already say it's a 3ZR off the bat. So just looking at the color, it is in gray. Let's see ZR1. Let's take a look at the body just to look at some of the differences. Well, this is not a really good example of pictures, but we can see the carbon ceramic brakes here. What else do we see? ZR1, obviously. It has an all black interior, no two-tone here. We do see the leather stitching right here I'm trying to see if it has that extra package for the leather on top, but it doesn't really seem like it when I'm looking at the doors, but it may be. I see a leather stitch up here, so this may have that package. Let's see if they say anything about it. Beautiful ZR1, chance to own a piece of history, 1400 models produced. Okay, so a little bit of Corvette history, thanks. I guess that helps because people don't know about the ZR1, but nothing is said about this car specifically in terms of the ownership, so can't really tell much from that. As you can see, this is what a 3ZR interior looks like. You have the nav screen as well as the heated seats. Both cars, 1ZR and 3ZR, both have dual zone climate control, so you can't tell that way. You'll mostly be able to tell by this nav screen and the heated seats. But as you can see, another characteristic of the ZR1 is having this clear glass porthole to look through and see your supercharger, which is pretty cool. They are asking $84,800 for this car. It's crazy how much these cars are worth now. $84,800 is on the cheaper end for these, which is insane. It has 30,000 miles, so it's not even like a showroom quality car. This is a driver for a ZR1. These cars obviously are driven a little bit less than Z06s and base model cars, but 84 grand they're asking. You know, I understand why the prices are this high, and I'll tell you why. The car is reliable. It doesn't break, right? People love that. That's why the Gallardo is so expensive. They only made 1,400 of these. They made 14,000 Gallardos. Granted, this is 1,400 of a specific trim level, the ZR1, but when you compare apples to apples, this car is very rare, right? So that's why it's expensive too. And the third reason is the performance. You can't get anything close to this with this type of characteristic, this type of setup. Anything close to this would be either in a Shelby GT500 or in a Hellcat or in a ZL1, and those simply aren't these types of cars. Those are everyday cars. They ride higher, they ride softer, they aren't as focused, I guess. So you can't really get anything like this for the price, even at $85,000. I'd say for me though, I think 85 is too high for having 29,000 miles, especially being a first model year. I'd really like to avoid first model years altogether. I'd say for this one, being a first model year with 29, almost 30,000 miles, I'd be willing to go up to $75,000. Ugh, that hurt to say. I don't like that. 75 grand for a 2009 Corvette. Oh my God. It's better than this one. So now we have another 2009 Corvette, except this one is a little bit closer to brand new. We have 6,700 miles on this one. Let's take a look at some of the photos. You can see it is in black with the polished 20-spoke wheels. I really like this setup. I love silver wheels on black cars. They look so much better than black wheels on black cars. You can see clean engine bay. This car is just overall clean in general. It should be 7,000 miles. Interior is clean as well. We can see it is a 3ZR. See what else he has to say. Previously owned and signed by Matt Kenseth. Clean history. All consumables are up to date. Okay, so he says it's good, and we're supposed to take his word for it, I guess. 6,700 miles, and he says all consumables are up to date, so he kept up with the maintenance, it seems like. But that's just something you have to talk to the person specifically about. Looking on the interior, it does look like it has leather on the surfaces. Actually, give me 1 second. I just want to read. Where does this say? Custom two-tone. Okay, so it's only two-tone if it's a custom leather wrap interior package. Okay. Cool. Console cover. Hey, I mean, this is leather wrap console cover, door uppers, and everything, but it's not a two-tone. So part of me wants to believe that you didn't have to get a two-toned if you got the custom leather package. But I don't have any clarification on that. There's a lot of things with these cars and models that no one ever talks about, which I always discover when I'm looking and researching, which is crazy. So I hope these videos help because I talk about stuff that no one really has a direct answer to. Sometimes. Just now I didn't have my answer either, so that doesn't really help. Anyway, looking at this one, 3ZR, obviously, it has the heated seats. Yeah, I'll get to you. I've been trying to kind of... Anyway, Crackalope, you are correct. These prices are insane. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I used to be the president of the car club at University of Maryland where I went to college, right? And I remember we had this one kid, he showed up with a ZR1, he bought it. I think he paid like almost 50 grand for it, and this was like 5 years ago. He came up if he still had that car. I remember it had like 20,000 miles. He paid like 50 grand for it, and it was so nice. And now these cars are almost six figures plus. That's insane. Like, that's insane. That is insane. Anyway, this car is clean overall. I mean, 6,700 miles, there really shouldn't be anything wrong with this car at all. Very clean on the interior, no wear anywhere. It is a 3ZR, so pretty much fully loaded. It's hard to tell what audio system this car has from these photos. You can see right here, I guess it might say Bose. Yeah, it says, definitely says Bose. I mean, it's 3ZR, of course it says Bose. So, fully loaded car. 2009 though, 6,700 miles. That's a plus, I guess, but you know me, I'm not really a big fan of low mile cars simply because I don't trust that you've driven this car an equal amount of miles for the past, what, 2009 to 15 years? No, I don't like that. I don't like cars that have been sitting at all in their life. I like cars that have been used thoroughly, which is kind of weird because usually you want a car like all to yourself, but I like cars that have been used thoroughly because the value is there. That's the only reason. I would love to have a brand new car, but in terms of value, I'll go high mile car all day. Yep, for this one, they're asking $100,000. It's basically brand new, 6,700 miles. I'd say for this one, being basically brand new, I mean, I don't know. I'd go up to 90 grand for this just to try to get a deal, but I really wouldn't try to buy this car anyway. Here we have another 2009. 5,900 miles, so even less miles than the one before, and a less price too, $96,000. Let's take a look at what we're working with here. It does have some different wheels. Not sure what these wheels are. Does it say anything here? Okay, thank you. This is actually a semi-appropriate description right here. It actually says all the options and things. Granted, a lot of these are standard, but yeah, we'll just read them through. 6.2 liter, obviously, 6-speed manual, 3ZR. 342 rear axle, dry sump oiling system, active handling, traction control, limited. Okay, all these are standard stuff, but at least he's listing out the features. This has heated and powered outside mirrors, carbon fiber panels, obviously, split and rockers, Bose Premium 7 speaker. Yep, this is a 2009. Heated bucket seats. All right, cool. So it is a fully loaded 3ZR as we expected. It didn't say anything about the wheels though. Yeah, unless I can't read, I don't see nothing about the wheels, which is unfortunate. I'm guessing these are a Corvette wheel because they do say Corvette on them. What is this, a 2009? Hold on, let me look at these wheels options. Oh, they're right here. What wheel is that? 06. Oh, let's see. So these are the cup wheels that I was talking about that I couldn't find, but they're right here. I can't even read. Okay, so those are the cup wheels, upgraded wheels. So these wheels are actually an upgrade. So you got the cup wheels on there. So what does this car have? 3ZR, cup wheels, silver on black. It has the leather on top and everything. You see the leather stitching on the armrest. You also have some custom carbon fiber centerpieces as well. Not too bad, not too bad. Only 5,900 miles, so you really can't expect this car to have anything wrong with it. And if it does, I just wouldn't even look at it. But for 95.9, it is a little bit better than the previous one we were looking at. I'd be willing to go up to, same, $90,000 for this one as well. So COVID and inflation correlate. Yeah, kind of, Jacob. They kind of do correlate, but these cars have gone up, it seems like 80 to 100%, and that's not really the trend in the market. Especially now, as prices started to die down a little bit, these cars have not died down at all. As you can see, they seem to be continuing to just go up, which is crazy. But again, that it all comes down to production numbers. At the end of the day, 1,400 were made for the world, and so these will always be desirable till the end of time. Let's move on to our next example. We have another 2009, 21,000 miles, and I'm asking 88 grand. This one is more to my speed. However, it's still a little bit expensive. Let's see what we're working with though. On the inside, it's a gray car with the 20-inch silver wheels. Interior, we do have a two-tone interior. Let's see if they show it more. See, we do have a two-tone interior. You can see that this does have the leather package. Obviously, again, most of these are going to be fully loaded. Pretty clean. It is a 3ZR, as we can see. Anything they have to say in the description. 2009 3ZR Cyber Gray with dark titanium interior, only 21K miles. blah blah blah. Whatever. Cool. So I mean, this is a nice example of a car. It's pretty much in the middle of the range in terms of mileage. Hey, shout out to Clean Whips in the chat. What is going on, man? It's pretty much in the middle of the range in terms of mileage at 21,000 miles. They want $88,000 for this. I mean, it's a little bit better in terms of value than the other ones we were looking at, but still, I can't get my mind around how expensive these are, so I'm still getting used to it. I think for this one, I'd be willing to go up to $82,000. Holy crap. 82 grand. You know what you could do with 82 grand instead of getting a 2009 ZR1? What could compete though? This is not a sports car. This is a little bit higher than that. People would consider this a supercar. A lot of people do. A lot of Corvette people do. However, I don't think I would consider this a supercar because it is based on a regular car. Same thing with the 911, not a supercar. I guess you could consider this in the same league in the way I'm thinking about this as a 911. It's not a supercar, but it's not a sports car. It's kind of in the middle. I'm talking about like a high-end 911 Turbo or GT3. Somewhere in the middle. You can call them exotic cars maybe. I don't think that's a real thing. I think exotic is the same as supercar, but for this case, we can call this one exotic. It's not quite a supercar, but it's not a sports car either. But it's not exotic either. Exotic means like foreign market too, so I don't know how to describe this car besides saying that it is just a really good value. Yeah, what's the difference between a supercar and a hypercar? Exactly. I think it's the dollar amount. I think really anything over $1 million, you are pretty much spot on, is going to be in hypercar territory. But you do see things that are considered hypercars like the 918, the what is it? The LaFerrari. Obviously these are over $1 million now, but they weren't over $1 million when they came out. Yeah, so those cars, obviously hypercars, they're $1 million now. I'm trying to think of a hypercar that's like not $1 million. I don't think that exists. I think you're spot on with that definition. I'm gonna use that from now on. Over $1 million is a hypercar. Yeah, this one, yeah, 82 grand. I'm trying to think what car could compete for this with the what would I spend 90 grand on that has 640 horsepower, goes 200 plus miles an hour, is like a cool looking car. Like it's not like an everyday car. You don't see these every day. 90 grand. I don't know. Maybe like the closest thing I can think of is maybe a Gallardo, or maybe even like a McLaren MP4. But those are still going to be more towards the 100 grand mark than under 90. You know, you won't really find really many examples of those. Those are supercars too. So I don't know. Oh, Viper. A Viper is a good comparison for one of these. I don't know why that just came to my head. Viper, same kind of deal. NSX too, but the performance isn't there. That's like the NSX. I see what you mean though. The NSX could be considered in this kind of same category because it's not quite a supercar, but it's not quite a supercar for a different reason. It has a supercar body style, but the performance isn't there. This has the performance, but no supercar body style. So a little bit different, but kind of in the same. I'd say the Viper is the closest competitor in terms of class to this type, or the ZR1, but the ZR1 just has the Viper beat. Granted, the Viper is a little bit more rare and exotic because you see them less, and they have a little bit more of a specialness, road presence to them because they aren't based on a regular car like the Corvette ZR1 is. But the performance just isn't there. You're not making 640 horsepower. You're not making over 600 pound-feet of torque. But yeah, they're kind of in the same though. Maybe the ACR could be comparable, but the ACR is just stupid expensive compared to one of these, so it's not even worth getting one of those. You can just get a ZR1 instead of an ACR. Is the Viper drivable? I'd say it's less drivable than a ZR1. I'd say it's about as drivable as a Z06. The Viper, it is drivable. The old ones are going to be more hard to drive, obviously, because they don't have the technology, the traction control, the ABS, the what is it, stability control. It doesn't have any of that for the older ones. But if you get I believe the 3rd gen came with traction control, and then the 4th gen and 5th gen had way more standard features. I believe the last model, the last generation, the 5th gen, has a lot of those safety features. So those ones are going to be a lot more, you know, dailyable and less stressful to drive. But in terms of model years, those didn't come out till like 2015, 2016, 2017. This is 2009. So I don't know what else has this car beat, to be honest. So when I think about it like that, what else are you gonna get for the price? You guys can let me know. I can't think about it. Front engined, 640 horsepower, manual. You can't really get that. You can't really get that. Anyway, this one I said 82. I mean, yeah, the AMG GTR is cheaper, but it doesn't make as much power. And you can't get a manual transmission. It's not going to be the same feel. AMG GTR, how much? Actually, hold on. What am I don't think about it? You said GTR. I was thinking about GTs. How much power does it make? Okay, so it makes 577 horsepower. So still not as powerful, and the top speed isn't 205. And the GTR, that is yeah, I'd say GTR is kind of comparable to this in terms of it is kind of in the middle of between a sports car and a supercar. But in my opinion, just the look of the GTR is what makes it more of a sports car than a supercar. The GTR looks like a regular big sedan, not sedan obviously, but a regular big car. Have you seen a GTR in real life? They're huge. Like, I don't know if it's just me, because no one else seems to be saying this, but a GTR, a Nissan GTR, an R35 in person is like the size of like a, like, it's the size of like an Accord in my head. Like, I don't know why. Hold on. Nissan GTR dimensions R35. Why is the R35 so big? Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking too. Why is the GTR R35 so huge? It's huge. And that's why, like, if you put a GTR next to a hold on, let me see if I can find a GTR sitting next to a ZR1. R35 GTR versus ZR1. Wow, this is actually a C7, so that's bigger. Okay, here's a good picture. You can see how much bigger the GTR is than all of these cars. The GTR is huge. It's taller than a 599. And then you can see how low the Corvette is. Definitely like has the lowest profile of all these cars in terms of its body lines. You can see the top of the fender is the lowest. The Corvette just has such a good profile. Anyway, let's get back to the ads. I went off on a bit of a tangent there. Let's move on to our next one. Actually, yeah, I mean, hey, I'm not going to argue with that. Bigger car is always going to be more convenient. But in terms of just it having that exotic car pedigree, it just doesn't do it for me. It doesn't stand out too much in terms of its design. I think that a car, if you wanted to, like a super high performing car, has to have a matching design. And the GTR, it looks good. It just doesn't look great. Cragalope said, now that I've seen these prices, I'd rather get a CTS-V 4-door ZR1. Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly a ZR1 because it uses the LSA. Or does the new Corvette, wait, CTS-V uses LS9. Yeah, okay, so it's pretty much the same in terms of displacement and everything, but the LSA, that's what Cadillac CTS-V forum says it has different pistons and rods and different valves in the same heads. And of course, a different blower. So the ZR1 has a 2.3 liter. But overall, like, you can still do a lot with the LSA engine. So you can probably make similar power with some mods. So I don't blame you for making that decision at all. I definitely would rather buy 3 CTS-Vs as opposed to 1 ZR1. But let's look at this one. It's black with the silver 20-inch or 20 spoke wheels. You can see the carbon fiber roof, exposed carbon fiber, silver 20-inch or 20 spoke wheels. You can see on the interior, you also have the carbon fiber center console, as well as having the leather wrapped armrest. It is a 3ZR, as we can see. It had the seated heats and the nav. So pretty much fully loaded. This one has 32,000 miles, so the most amount of miles we've seen so far, and the least price we've seen so far, 84 grand. I'd say for it being a 2010, not a first model year, and having 32,000 miles, I would be willing to go up to $78,000 for this car. Then moving on to our final example, we have a silver example. This is going to be a 2012, so second to last model year on the silver 20 spoke wheels, the standard wheels for the ZR1. And see what he has to say. Chevy Corvette ZR1 King of the Hill 3ZR blade silver over ebony with only 13K miles. So they're asking $95,000. It only has 13,000 miles and it is a 2012. Some people do say that the earlier models were a little bit faster because they had, I forget the exact reason, but some people say that, but they're all pretty much the same. You're really not, that's like cope to buying a cheaper car, but this one is a little bit cheaper than these other ones, so I would rather buy this one overall. Let's look at what the interior spec looks like. You can see two-tone interior. This is going to be the ebony interior. It's not black, it's a brown, but it has the microfiber inserts, which is cool. Pretty rare to see this set up on the interior. You can see also has the carbon fiber center console. I wish I could read this, but we can't. It's too small. Scrolling back through the photos. Again, 3ZR, so fully loaded, low miles. They want under 100 grand, which is a plus already. I hate to say it. Kills me to say that under 100 grand for a 2012 Corvette is a good deal already, but it is compared to the rest of the market we've been looking at. I'd say for having 13,000 miles and being a 2012, I'd be willing to go up to $90,000. Moving on to Auto Trader, the next place we look at ads. We have our first example. It's going to be a 2009 ZR1 with the preferred equipment group. I believe they're talking about 3ZR here. Yep, we can see that it already has the seated heats and the navigation. So this is going to be a 3ZR. Looking at the wheel though, this interior doesn't look like it's in the best condition. I'm trying to see. Yep, it has the stitch dash and everything. Yep, we can see these seats are going to be the standard seats, no Alcantara here. And you can see the supercharger through the glass dome, pretty cool. You see it there again. Carbon fiber hood, as you can see, it also has carbon fiber fenders and a carbon fiber roof. Again, 3ZR package, but the interior is looking a little bit rough. This wheel looks destroyed. I don't know why it looks like this. They don't really show much of the interior. Come on, let's get a better picture. Nope. You don't want to show much of it. 2009, 83,000 miles. So high miles, high mile example here, and an appropriate price. So looking at the interior, we can see that that actually makes sense compared to the mileage. 83,000 miles is a lot of miles for a ZR1. This person loved their car. Anything to say? Nope. So being that this car is the highest mile example we've seen so far, and it is a first model year, they're asking $66,500. $66,500 sounds pretty reasonable to me when compared to the rest of the vehicles we were looking at. However, 83,000 is a ton of miles for one of these. I don't really know how the longevity of these cars are because not many people have driven them that much. For that reason alone, I wouldn't want to pay $66,500 for a car with 83,000 miles. I'd be more around the $57,000 mark. Moving on to our next example, we have a 2010 Corvette ZR1 with the preferred equipment group. Again, I believe this means the 3ZR package. Let's take a look. It is on some aftermarket wheels. Actually, what wheels are these? These are Corvette wheels. Come on. We're going to figure this out. Okay, so it looks like these are on the Z06 wheels. So we have a ZR1 on Z06 wheels in red. I do like this red. Looks pretty nice to me. Does it say what color? Nope, didn't even say what red it is. All right. Interior, we can see already 3ZR package. Obviously, it says preferred equipment group. We can see the nav. We can see the seated heats. Interior condition doesn't look too bad. It does look like it has 36,000 miles. The seats don't look perfect, but they're not in terrible condition. The wheel looks better than the last one we looked at. Looks all right for me. Yeah, I love this red. This red is actually pretty insane. I really like this red. You can see nothing much going on here. We do have the leather covered dash and door uppers as well as the center console. And you can see it is a 3ZR. It has the, you can see it is a 3ZR. It has the trunk cover as well. Blue brake caliper option 2. Very clean example. Love the red. It also has the paint matched interior for the headlights, which is pretty cool. Again, very nice example. This one has 36,500 miles and they want 78 grand for it. That is actually pretty reasonable. I'd say for me, I wouldn't really want to go above the $70,000 mark for one of these, but at $70,000, that would be a really good deal. Moving on to our next one. Hey, shout out to you, Jacob, for tuning in. I appreciate you, man. See you next show tomorrow, hopefully. We'll give you an exit horn. There you go. Anyway, moving on to the next example, we have a 2010 ZR1 in gray, as you can see, with the silver 20 spoke wheels, the standard ZR1 wheels. It has 9,700 miles and they're asking 86 grand. So off the bat, it seems like Auto Trader has some cheaper examples compared to Facebook. Facebook prices were insane, but we'll see if that trend continues. See, it is in the gray. You can see ZR1 badge right here. Quad tips. It is a Corvette after all. What else can we see? You can see the dome here, the power dome with the glass see-through panel to look at that supercharger of yours. You can see all the carbon on the roof looks super good as well. These pictures are really nice. It looks, this one does have the carbon spoiler as well. You can see on the interior, it is a 3ZR. Obviously, we see the nav, we see the seated heats. Carbon fiber center console as well. Lots of carbon fiber on this car. Very nice. Under 10,000 miles, 9,700 miles, and they only want 86 grand. This is such a better deal than the other ones we looked at. These are also all going to be clean title cars, so not really too sure the discrepancy in price between these two sites, but I'm not going to complain. I'd say for this, having 9,700 miles and being a 2010, I'd be willing to go up to $82,000 for this car. That would be pretty good in my opinion. This is a really nice spec. I love this gray, especially with the blue calipers. Moving on to our next one, we have a 2012 ZR1 with the 3ZR package. Again, as I mentioned, most of these are going to have the 3ZR package. It is the flagship Corvette. After all, most people optioned it fully. They didn't want to cut any corners, because if they want to do that, they should just got a Z06 or a standard base car. But this one also has the yellow matching calipers. We can see the carbon ceramics there too, looking huge. Looking underneath, we can see that engine bay. Looks pretty clean. You can also see this has a two-tone interior. You can see the leather on the upper parts of the door, so it has a leather package as well. 3ZR, as they mentioned, and it is very clean. This is one of the cleanest ones we've seen so far in terms of just not having any marks at all anywhere on the interior. Looks pretty nice. I also like this two-tone as well. Yellow is also going to be good. It'll help the car stand out. I mean, if you want that or not. A lot of people, you know, aren't big fans of doing that, but you will be able to get that attention that you want if you get something like this. 16,000 miles. It is a 2012, second to last model year, and they want 84 grand. I don't get why these ones, it seems like the 2012s are a little bit cheaper. Not too sure why, but I'm not complaining. You don't like this interior? I think this interior looks nice, but I guess the tan is a little grandpa spec, but I think I'm more on the fence, or more on the side of it being more unique. That's why I like it. You really don't see a lot of two-tones that look this good in terms of condition. But 16,000 miles, they want 84 grand. Looking at the last example, it had 10,000 miles and they wanted 86 grand. So for this one, they want 84 grand. It has a little bit more miles. I'd say I'd be willing to go up to $78,000 for this car. The spec isn't as good as the last one, but it is still there in terms of options and mileage. And now we're going to look at the final example of Auto Trader. This one isn't even serious. I just threw this one in here just to show you guys how crazy the Corvette ZR1 market is right now. Here we have a brand new example, one that looks like never left the house. They took it out to take this photo in the driveway and they probably put it right back in the garage. Very unfortunate. Also signed by some special people here. I'm not a big Corvette guy, so I don't know which one it is. So this one says, apparently this is the last fast ZR1. The last ZR1. So this is why this car is worth so much money. This is what it says. This is the last ZR1 apparently. And yeah, if you want the last ZR1 with no miles, which is pretty cool actually that they actually kept the last ZR1 pretty much brand new, you can get it. It's on sale right now for a steep price of $350,000. You guys can tell me if you think that's worth it or not. 350 grand for a brand new ZR1. These cars are about 115 grand ish, I believe so, brand new, and now you're paying 3 times that. So yeah, insane. Exactly, way too much. They're cool, but I don't think I'll ever be that big of a fan of Corvette to buy a brand new one like this, especially paying 350 grand. You can get an Aventador or a brand new ZR1. Moving on to our next ad, we're looking at car gurus now. The final place we look at ads. Our first example is going to be a 2010 in gray with the blue calipers sitting on the 20 spoke ZR1 wheels. Wow, and this one has no photos. This is a slap for me. I don't know why I picked this one. So absolutely no information in terms of pictures. Let's see if they say anything. It has nav, so this is a 3ZR. It says right here 3ZR. Okay, so it is a 3ZR, so that's all we know about the car. It is a 3ZR. 2010 3ZR coupe, rear wheel drive, 45,000 miles. They're asking 73 grand for it. You know, they're not too far off. It's a 2010. It has high miles, but not too high miles, and the price is actually okay. But for me, I'd be willing to go up to $69,000 for this car. Clean Whips says he'd rather have the Z28 with the 7-liter personally for Chevy. I agree with that wholeheartedly. The 7-liter with the L7, you're getting a C6 with the C5 Z06 engine. I think that's amazing. The Z28, or is it called the Z28, or they call it the 428? Yeah, I believe it's called the Z28. No, they do. They call it the 427, which has the same thing. Hold on. Why does the 427 only come in convertible? Has that always been a thing? No, wait. Hold up. Z28. Is that a Camaro? Are you talking about a Camaro? The Z28 Camaro, like the Camaro with the LS7 in it? Because I think that's what you're talking about. I think that's what you're talking about, because I don't see it. What I was thinking about was the 427. I think that's a cool car, but it's like the Z06, but more comfortable. I think that's a cool car, but I'm not really a fan of the convertible. So yeah, the Camaro. Yeah, no, the Z28 Camaro, that is a fire deal of a car. I think that car is amazing simply because of what you get in it. People sleep on that car. They always go for the ZL1, but the Z28 with the LS7, like, that's way more special in my opinion. Naturally aspirated 7-liter. Like, what car company is doing that nowadays? I think that's a good option. You are completely correct. Exactly. Hey, shout out to DJ Inferno in the chat. It's been a while, man. Glad to have you back. He said he's been driving nights, so he missed a few shows. All good, man. Just as long as you like the video. But yeah, Z28 truly slept on Camaro. You are completely correct, Crackerlope. Anyway, let's get back onto these ads. This one I said I would pay, I forget what I said. 69,000, 68,000, something like that. Let's move on to our next one. We have another yellow example. This is going to be a 2012. I thought this was going to be the same one as this one we looked at earlier, but it's actually a different car. But it looks pretty much the same, just a little bit different on the interior as well as the pricing. You can see this one looks a little bit more worn as well. The seat looks like something's going on here. I don't know if that's mold or not. I hope not, but it looks a little bit more worn. We can also see that this is a 3ZR package, has nav, has heated seats. I need to stop stopping in the middle of the ads, but I keep reading your chats. But I'm not going to tell you guys to stop chatting. I love that. Crackerlope said he said his boy had one in high school till the head and valve issue. Yeah, I've heard that the LS7 has those valve issues. This the LS9 has the similar valve issues as I mentioned, but not the same. But yeah, the LS7 definitely has those valve and head issues. Yeah, especially when they get them canned, which a lot of people do. So yeah, if you don't want to get high mile ones of those, but if you do, hopefully you can find one that is properly serviced and has had the valves at least redone once, because you really don't want to be running into that with a car that special. Moving on to this one, as I mentioned before, 3ZR package. We can see nav and heated seats. What else can we see? It has the Alcantara and leather combo seats, so pretty rare option, along with the color contrast piping. It looks like, not sure if this is custom or not. This kind of looks aftermarket. It looks like they just kind of stuck it in the crack. Not the best look, but matches the color. You can see the supercharged engine. They also have some aftermarket engine parts in here too. Look pretty interesting. They're like bubbly, but in the same color. But for this one, only having 17,000 miles, it's not nearly as used as some of the ones we've seen before. So let's take a look and see what we can do in terms of price. 17,000 miles, 3ZR 2012, so second to last model year. They're asking $86,000. I think that's not too far off. I mean, it is a 2012, so they, in my opinion, can ask a little bit more, even though that hasn't been how the trend has been. I've seen a lot of 2009 and 2010 going for a lot higher than 2012. Doesn't make any sense to me, but we'll keep it moving. I say for that, having 17,000 miles, I'd be willing to go up to 80 grand for this car. And moving on to our next example, we have another gray one. 20 spoke silver wheels, blue calipers. This seems to be a popular combination in terms of the ZR1. See what we're working with though. In terms of the interior spec, it already says here, this is a 3ZR, so probably gonna have everything standard. Just looking at the seats, we can see this is gonna be the dual material seat with the interior, the middle of the seat being in Alcantara with the outside being in leather. So it has that going for it, a little bit more special than the rest of them. You can also see it has the carbon fiber center console, as well as just having that full leather interior. You can see the leather on top here, as well as being, well, can't see it in that picture, but you can also see the leather on the top of the armrest. Pretty much fully optioned as a 3ZR should be. They are asking 82 grand and it has 27,000 miles. For 2013, these prices are really good compared to what we're looking at on Facebook. This one is a 2009, they're asking almost 90. This one was a 2010, 2012. This one in the beginning, this 2009, they're asking 100 grand for. They're never selling this car. But back to Car Gurus. For this one, having 27,000 miles and they're asking 82.6, they're not too far off. I'd be willing to go up to 78 grand. Hey, that's a good idea, Crackle Up. The 03 to 04 Terminator, I definitely should do a video, and that's a very special car. That's kind of what started it off for everybody, and a lot of people often forget about that car because it's like a grandpa at this point. Everyone remembers like the sons and the grandsons, but they don't remember the grandpa. The Mustang, Terminator. Yep, I'll definitely do one on that because that is a very special car and will be very collectible starting probably yesterday. Like, it's already becoming collectible, so if you want to get your hands on one, you probably won't be able to at this point. I'll probably do one. I don't know if I should. Yeah, we'll see. I'll definitely do one, but I don't know when. We'll figure that out. All right, looking at this one, you kind of already saw it at first. I gave it a little bit of a sneak peek, but we'll go over it. This one is a 1ZR, one of the very few. In fact, this was the only 1ZR for sale on Car Gurus. So this is going to be a base level ZR1. You can see already it's on some aftermarket wheels. This is actually in the same color as the example we looked at before. And it's taken, the picture is taken in the exact same place, which is crazy. As you can see, this black wall here and this black wall here, same exact color, same exact location, same looking wheels. They're both not the stock base or the stock ZR1 wheels. These ones have some Z06 wheels and this one has some aftermarket wheels. But they're different cars. They're different model years. This one's a 2013. This one's a 2010. I was so confused for like 5 minutes because like, do I have the same car here? But nope, they are different cars. Same dealership, different cars. This one is going to be a 2013, as I mentioned, but a 1ZR. Let's take a look at the interior so we can see how different it looks. We can see there's no stitching on the top of the doors. This is all that plastic. We can also see this is a regular armrest. It's hard to tell the material, but it's not leather. We can also see there is no nav in the center console. This looks horrible in my opinion, especially for being a ZR1. You don't have heated seats or anything. This is very bare bones. Not too many people optioned a car like this simply because why would you? But if you were looking for something like a track car, like a stripper, you could go for one of these. Maybe you think you can justify it in your head. You're saving some money and therefore you're also saving weight as well, which is both good things. But in my opinion, I do not think you should go for a ZR1 at all. It's just like the Corvette is not a very high quality interior to begin with, so you kind of want to get as much possible when you're buying one of these. And this one, they just said, nah, I'm just not going to do it. We're just going to keep it as cheap as possible. And blank buttons, like, I mean, not blank buttons, but like blank areas. Not really a fan of this kind of stuff on a high-end car. When I'm paying 84 grand for something like this, I'm not getting a base level car. Nope, no way. See some aftermarket stuff with the intake, so it may make a little bit more power. But other than that, oh, an accident reported as well. 830 wheel horsepower monster. Okay, so this car has been worked on, which I guess gives it an advantage. Like, that's giving it a plus because the fact that it's a base 1ZR that took away from it, this kind of adds to it. As you can see, it has the ported supercharger Kong or snout Nick Williams, 103mm throttle body. So bigger throttle body, water tank, upper and lower pulleys done as well, long tube header. So completely full bolt-ons, it sounds like, and making 830 wheel horsepower. So that's pretty insane. This car is definitely powerful. So if you're looking for something like this, if you want something that's been worked on but you don't really care about any sort of features, this could be the car for you because it is still priced in the regular ZR1 price range. It's not super crazy because it has all those mods. It is regularly priced. That's what I'm talking about, where some cars, such as this, all the mods don't really add that much, because specifically for this one, it's a 1ZR, so that kind of evens it out. I'd say for having all that work done and having 35,000 miles, but being a 1ZR, I'd be willing to go up to $72,000 for this car. I do value the work a little bit, and I will give it a little bit because it has almost 200 horsepower more than stock. However, it being a 1ZR just really makes me not want to actually own this car. If I were to get this car myself, I would flip it for a slight profit and try to get a better, more equipped ZR1. Anyway, moving on to our final add-on car gurus, we have an orange example. This is going to be a 2013 3ZR, as it says in the title, orange on the silver 20 spoke wheels. Obviously, they're not 20 inch. I keep wanting to say that, but they are 19s in the front and 20s in the back. Let's take a look. You can see under the hood, it looks pretty stock under there. Looks pretty good. See those carbon ceramics. Tires look okay, but on a car like this, you just want to get new tires when you get a car like this. You don't even know what this car has been through beforehand. You know what it's capable of, so always get new tires when you get a new car like this. You don't want to take risks. Unless they're brand new, obviously. Carbon fiber roof looking real good too. This car is just very clean in general. Only 5,400 miles. You can see, I'm trying to get to the interior. All right, cool. Interior, we can see it is black with the suede inserts on the seat. You can also see that it is the full leather package. We see the stitching on the upper parts of the doors. Again, this is a 3ZR. Has the nav, has dual zone climate control, has the heated seats. This one is an automatic. Hold up. Did I just make that mistake? Did the ZR1 actually come in automatic and I just completely overlooked that? No way, man. Yeah, a 6-speed paddle shift was not available for the 2009. Yeah, 6-speed manual was standard. I'm so confused right now. I'm so confused because I didn't like. Hold on, I gotta scroll through all this first. Look, I'm not lying. This is not an option on the 2013. I'm not lying. This is not an option on the 2013. It says right here, 6-speed transmission. Man, where did I put that? Yeah, 6-speed paddle shift automatic transmission. There's nothing here. It's not available. So what's going on here? This says ZR1, but there's an automatic in here. It says ZR1 on the seats too. The engine bay was shown as well. This is a ZR1 in automatic. Does it say anything here on a conversion or anything? Yeah, okay. There we go. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy, y'all, and I know my cars. This has an automatic conversion. The first time I've ever seen an automatic on a ZR1. Here it is. Very rare indeed. The color combo alone is rare, but having an automatic transmission it's just weird. Why would you do that? That is so strange. I've never seen this, and but now I know this exists. There is automatic conversions. People really wanted their ZR1 in automatic. There is some old man, maybe like an amputee or something. He just could not drive stick, but he really wanted a ZR1, and so he had it custom fitted with an automatic. Never seen that before. Pretty much the opposite of what any sane person would do, but again, maybe it was for a disability or something. I have no idea. If you couldn't drive a stick shift, exactly. Wimp spec ZR1. That is funny. That's exactly what this is. This is the worst spec we've seen so far. Oh man. So automatic ZR1, 120 grand. I'd price this one at 80 grand simply because it is an automatic ZR1. I don't know who would want to buy these. I think there's about 5 people in this country that want to buy an automatic ZR1, but there are options for those people, I guess. But 80 grand, I don't even want to price this really. Like, I didn't think this was going to be a thing. I didn't think this was actually going to be in my list. So 80 grand. So that wraps it up for the car buyer's guide today. If I were to recommend any specific model year, I'd say 2010. 2011s are pretty rare for some reason. You don't really see a lot of 2011. So 2010, 2012 is also good. So I'd say 2010 to 2012 are some good model ranges. Seems like the 2012s are actually going for cheaper or the same prices as the earlier model years. So why not get a later model year car? Try to find one with under 20,000 miles. Again, these are like garage queens. These are babied. These cars are show cars. They're not supposed to be driven a lot. Granted, some of them are, and that's not a bad thing. Like, obviously, I advocate for people driving their cars, but I'm saying the average miles on the market is probably going to be around 20,000 miles. So try to stick under that if you're trying to get the best examples. Also, of course, you have to get one with 3ZR. Don't get a 1ZR car. It's not going to be worth it. Just get a Z06. If you can't budget for a 3ZR, get a Z06. This is not for you. You have to get the 3ZR package. Interior is all up to you. I kind of like the black with the suede inserts. It makes it a little bit more sporty while still retaining some essence of being upscale. It's not completely Alcantara is what I mean. A complete Alcantara interior is really sporty to me and not very luxurious. But this one kind of keeps in the ballpark, still being luxurious but sporty at the same time. And obviously, I just say 3ZR in general because it comes with everything standard. Color, up to you. I really like all the colors. I'm not really picky in terms of color for the ZR1. All the colors that came with look pretty good. That's really up to you. And other than that, not really much else. Try to get one for a reasonable price. Don't pay 100 grand for a ZR1. For me, I think the max I'd pay for a ZR1 is probably like 75 grand. So I'd probably be looking at a higher mile car. But 75 grand for a ZR1 is really good at the end of the day when looking at the market. So that pretty much wraps up that part of the ad or the buyer's guide. That pretty much wraps up the buyer's guide. What am I talking about? It's getting late. 5:27. We had to do this twice, y'all. If you didn't know, the first time we streamed did not work out so well, but we always get it done. Let's see what car I'm going to do tomorrow. Wow, that froze. Okay. If I can come back. So I'm frozen right now. Come on, come back, camera. You can do it. There we go. Okay. Lots of technical difficulties today. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, tomorrow I'm going to be going over the 997 Porsche GT3, Porsche 911 GT3. So stay tuned for that. I know I'm going to have a lot of people loving that video because my Porsche fans are my best fans. It's like, I'm joking. The Porsche people are the most anal and most particular. So I have to do a lot of research for tomorrow's video. I don't want to get anything wrong or else I will be roasted till the end of time. See you guys tomorrow with that video. As always, have a good one. Be safe.